Hey everybody, this is Cindy Allen, Editor-in-Chief of Interior Design Magazine. I am very excited to chat today with Freeform. You all know them, the leading manufacturer of award-winning sustainable building materials and architectural hardware solutions for you, the A&D industry. And today I'm talking about new product, innovation, and sustainability with the VP of Design and Marketing, Christian Darby. Hi, Christian.
Hi, how are you doing, Cindy?
Great. And the Director of Sustainability, Mike Johnson.
Hey, Cindy, how are you?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very well, thank you.
I mean,
Yeah.
strange days, right?
I know. We're in definitely interesting and very strange times.
Yeah.
But you know, we miss you guys at NeoCon, right?
I know. We were so disappointed. We had everything planned and we were so excited. It's a show we love. Yeah. So, next year.
I know it's kind of impossible to wrap your head around as we're talking on Zoom that we're actually not going to have NeoCon because it's so ingrained in our history and in our industry.
Yeah, I mean, it is it's strange times. We were talking about it the other day and we're seeing this cultural shift to this camera, Zoom connection. It's weird.
I
But
know.
we're still connected. We're all still connected. That's
We're
great.
definitely still connected. And the funny thing is that in some ways we'll be closer after this conversation than we actually will if we were on the NeoCon floor with a million people running around, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we
No
get this little
distractions.
one-on-one time.
I know. Well, you do have some really, really exciting launches that are happening right now. So we're going to talk about that. So we're going to act like we're at NeoCon right now.
Perfect.
And so let's start with new product because the designers and architects, they're craving it.
Yeah.
And I know you have two introductions. Let's start with Fleck. Tell us about Fleck.
So Fleck has been about a 5-year process of innovation. Freeform has always been quite innovative in nature.
Absolutely.
And when we make our sheet materials, we always have a little bit of trim. We have to square everything up and clean it up. And it's been bothering us that that trim material goes into our recycling stream. And we've just felt like we could do better with that. And so about 5 years ago, we started with this process of figuring out what we could do with it. In short, we figured out that we can grind it up. And then we worked in collaboration with another company to develop an optical sorter. So it has a little eye in it. The chips run in front of that eye and it can start to sort and it can take out the material that we can recycle and the material that we can't recycle. As you know, with our Varia product, we have inner layers, textiles, organics, all these amazing materials.
Gorgeous.
They can't be and they can't be recycled. So we had to remove those and then get back that material that we could recycle. Once we did that, we took it and figured out, we played with a number of different ways on how we could use it. And we started putting it in our presses and creating little sample sheets. And then from there, we started getting it bigger and bigger. And we've created this amazing new material that takes 100% of our recycle stream and puts it back into a beautiful sheet. We call it Fleck.
Yeah, so how exciting is that when obviously there's a lot of development, right? A lot of product development. And as you said, years of it. But when you start getting closer, it must be really exciting. And Mike, since you're the sustainable guy, you're probably like, what are we doing with all this stuff that we're not using, right?
You know, I think one of the most exciting things to add to what Christian said, it's not only about taking what was formerly known as waste and turning it into a beautiful new process. It's also about reducing the amount of impact from the original source, right? Because to have trim, you have to have product to begin with. And that product has environmental impact built into it. So when we're able to reduce the size of our trim and therefore reduce the size of our initial inputs, we reduce the overall impact from the very get-go. So we're reducing impacts from the very beginning and then all the way through the process and all the way through the end. And that to me is really exciting. Yeah, we're netting impact reduction all the way along the way.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
Super.
And you know, we think about Freeform definitely as a design company. So you also know that whatever it is that you do, design has to be the end result. And
Yeah.
this product is really, really exciting.
Yeah, there's no question, Cindy. Everything we do has to look beautiful. And so we can't take waste stream and sort of make it more waste stream. We have to figure out how do we upcycle it, make it more beautiful, make it appealing to this amazing design community that we serve.
Yeah, and so it looks like terrazzo, right? So you have
Yeah,
all these chips, right?
yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about the process of how that works now.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, Cindy, that
Oh,
you
you have
say
some?
terrazzo. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have some. I'm gonna show you a little bag. Um, but what's kind of fun about this is actually our working title was terrazzo. And we
Ah,
just could see like, okay, there's this beautiful tie, but we take all these little chips and you can see there it's such an amazing random mix. And we figured out that as we run it through this optical sorting machine, it can start to sort. And I'm going to show you another
yeah, I
one.
want to see.
So
I want to
so
see.
we started playing with like, okay, what happens if we sort to just blue?
Mm,
So isn't that amazing? We sorted to blue,
gorgeous.
and then we said, okay, what if we just sort to red? And then we took that red and we started putting it in
Oh my
material.
goodness.
Isn't
That's
that amazing?
gorgeous. Put it
And
all
then
the way up. Put it all
yeah,
the way up. Yeah. Wow.
isn't that
Gorgeous.
amazing? And then
Yeah,
we
gorgeous.
started playing with like, I'm going to switch them out. So we said, okay, what happens if we put 10% of the fleck color with the clear? And then here you can see like 25%.
There's
So we
more. Yeah.
started kind of, yeah, it's 100% recycled fleck, but we can control the amount of clear versus the amount of color.
Is that something that's an option for designer?
Well, here's what happened. We started to see that, okay, for us to sort this, we sort in this blue. I'm going to hold it up close. See, it's
Yeah.
all just amazing tones of blue.
Gorgeous.
We figured
Gorgeous.
out that we sorted 1 ton of material and we got enough material to make 2 sheets of blue.
Hmm,
So we started seeing
I see.
if a designer comes and says, I want orange, okay, it might take us 3 months to sort enough to find the
Much.
right amount of orange. What we put in is what we can get out. And so from there, we said, well, 3form has this amazing color system, 250 colors in our system that we can start to apply. And what happens if we start to apply color to a more neutral fleck? Isn't
Right.
that amazing? There's a
Yeah,
little
absolutely.
pink and there's a little blue. So then it gives us total control over the color.
And then is that how the word fleck kind of came to be then?
Yeah, because we're kind of it's that moving from terrazzo. We knew we couldn't call it terrazzo because it would just be confusing.
Right.
But
Confusing.
you start looking at fleck and you're like, we're taking all these amazing fleck that has this history of 3form. Some of it may come from a beargrass organic, some of it may come from a linen textile, and we're taking all these little flecks and putting it into a new sheet, and then we control the color through our system.
So Mike, tell us on the sustainability front, kind of explain the pros to all of this.
Yes, Cindy, that's a great question. I'm going to sum it up with one quick statement,
Okay.
and that is optimized EPDs. I don't know if you've heard about this yet, but this
Oh,
is
yeah.
entirely exciting. It essentially means we were able to take where we started from, which was great already. We started with 40% recycled content way back 16 years ago.
Right.
And today we're able to have a hugely increased recycled content from a closed loop source, go back and restudy our Varia product, come back out with an optimized EPD based partially on the savings we just spoke about. So it's literally a win-win-win. It's a win across our primary platform, our flagship product, all the way down to this new specialized product. And it's just a really exciting time from product development when we can talk openly and actively about pursuing regenerative and restorative products. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And the palette is so beautiful. Actually, the palette that you're showing is so beautiful.
Sure.
And then I also saw it in, are you developing these screens or is that a sample? I see these beautiful sort of divider screens.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we are. We're absolutely. So we have this amazing collection of hardware systems. One of those is Il2O, and that's this screen hardware system that allows us to put these beautiful panels into the hardware system and then now go crazy. Now the designers really can leverage that. You know, one of the things, Cindy, that Mike said is when Mike tells me win, 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 and we can add win from design, it's like,
Yes.
how do you go wrong, right? Because we're winning on Mike's side, but we're also winning on that design side, and it's just really amazing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, you got to make Mike happy. I can tell already. We need to make him happy.
Mike's
Very,
pretty
very
easy.
wise. Very, very wise, Cindy. You're quick.
Mike's great to work with, but when we make him happy, everybody's happy.
I can see that. And then
It's
I
a lot
love,
happier place.
yeah. And then I love that the other collection actually is very tied to this. So sort of explain where one stops and the other starts.
Yeah, that's such a good question. So you can imagine if I take this original sort and you can see all the kind of fun little different pieces in that. When we go through the optical sorter and we sort to what we need, this really beautiful curated color span that we need for Fleck, there's a lot of material that we sort out that can be recycled that we're not using in Fleck. And what we started
percentage
to
is that? Sorry, what percentage is that?
yeah, we can recapture about 50% of it that can be used for Fleck. And then there's about 50, well, there's probably 5% that, and again, I'm guessing, but there's probably about 5% that is like the textiles and the organics that we don't recycle. So those go out. And then there's about 40% that we can capture and say, okay, we're not using it in Fleck, but we can use it in some of these other products. So one of those products is if we can get to a beautiful white, a really beautiful matte white, and then we can also take all the mix of colors and get this really kind of interesting dark gray color, and we add a little bit of dye to it to get this really uniform matte black. Now we have this amazing material that we can start to use in other ways. One of those ways is additive manufacturing. So we are using additive manufacturing to print lights for our light art sister company. And it's been just a fun, amazing process. We're also using it in an additive manufacturing process in some of our hardware for 3form. So that's something we're exploring and discovering right now.
Okay, so that's the other thing. So, all right. So now you created Fleck, really excited, but you still have some stuff here over on the side. And you're like, come on now, we can do, like, it's sort of kind of, once you open up that door to be really creative and do good for the planet, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you created another amazing collection. And Mike, what did you think about that one?
Well, I wanted to add again because Christian did such a great job, but one thing that's absolutely critical to also know is one of the major problems we have in recycling, especially in our industry, is everybody now is so rightfully concerned about the health of the ingredients that go in. When you take a mixed recycling stream, which is commonly available out there, you have no control over the contamination of that recycled stream. We have total control. We know what comes into us. We maintain control of our strep, and then we come back and we have control going into what goes into it next. So we can essentially certify these materials are red list free all the way through the entire process because we own the process.
Right.
It's ours. And that to me is amazing, you know. And I love that you said we're kind of doing the earth a favor. You know, I think it's interesting because really what we're finally ending up doing is we're able to mimic what the planet does. The planet wastes nothing, zero waste.
I love that.
The planet abhors waste. We're emulating that. We're getting better. We're gonna get even better than we already have.
I love that. So let's not forget. So it's called the Coil Collection, right?
Yeah,
and
that's right.
We love our friends at Light Art.
Oh yeah,
they're in Seattle, right?
they are. Yeah.
They're in Seattle. Such good friends. I made a light once there in their factory.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
fun.
pretty
Warmed
fun.
it up and molded it. Yeah, such good
Oh, yeah.
folks. But by the way, this collection is gorgeous. It is so gorgeous. They look like sculptures. The idea of the mat is very, very exciting to me. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how this product was developed?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, you know, it all started with the material. And really, when you think about 3form and Light Art and our family of brands, our vision for material is this. It's can we not get to a place where we have zero waste, where we have 100% closed loop manufacturing? And so once we had this beautiful base material, the other side of the fleck, then we started
Right.
experimenting and starting to play with shape and form, texture, matte, gloss. And if you could see the working, the design table at Light Art, you would see dozens and dozens of experiments. What does the scale look like? What's the right form factor? How big, how small? Then the finish. So we got to this place and we started, of course, Ryan Smith driving all of it from Light Art,
Yeah, he's
started
fantastic.
playing. Oh, he's
Yeah,
amazing.
Ryan.
Yeah, he's just amazing. And so he and his team started playing with what is the right form. They experimented, then they started, as we all do in design, started editing down to these are the right form factors. One of the things I love about the coil collection is they look like ceramic to me.
They look like ceramics.
Isn't it
Exactly like
amazing?
ceramics.
So we've taken this material that was once waste, we've put it back in, closed the loop, and then created this beautiful ceramic-like light fixture with all the modern technology that can come with LED and the electronics and the controlling it. I know they moved to a more eco-friendly cabling and wiring and cording system. So all of it has been considered to get this amazing finished product.
You know what I
Mike,
love?
add
I
in?
love that it looks like ceramics. A lot of times when something kind of looks like something else, the thing that's something else is usually the problem. But you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's like the other version of it but this is something else that's also really, really good for the environment. And it's
Right.
so beautiful.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
I want to add on to what Christian just said there, just to clarify. When he says
yeah. Good.
environmentally responsible cabling, Light Art, through this aligned effort that we have, this vision that we have, we were the first lighting manufacturer to actually go outsource and create PVC-free cabling because it's just so important. So we're leading the charge, and we believe me, it's been an effort. We've had our setbacks, but we continue to lead that charge. We also led TGIC-free powder coating in our fixtures. We're looking at high efficiency lighting. So everything that we're doing, we're really looking at it through a full lens across the Reform family of companies to make sure we're doing things really, really properly and beautifully and functionally.
Which one was the real like problem child of those that you were just mentioning?
Oh, the
Oh, yeah.
problem children, you mean? There's so many problem children. I'll be honest with you. One of the hardest things that we do, and most manufacturers face today, is really trying to get full and accurate ingredient information from the worldwide supply chain that shifts all the time.
Right.
So getting to that net result where we can say, yes, this is red list free, and yes, we control it, and yes, we can trust it. That's not easy. But there's other problem children along the way, like switching to that PVC cabling.
Yeah.
That requires UL rating, right? So we have to go back and get all those UL rated again and check to make sure they're going to be safe. And then we have to make the supply occur and so on and so forth. It's an uphill battle, but it's a worthwhile one.
Yeah, definitely. And so we're talking a lot about sustainability, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Mike, tell us about the bigger initiative that you all are calling Align.
Yeah, so Align came about because 3Form joined with Light Art and then joined with EFI. And what we quickly realized is that, through no ill intent, we came at sustainability from three different angles and three different levels. And so we really needed to encompass all the companies and all the employees' efforts into one focus. So that focus is really with three pillars. It's people, it's product, and it's planet. We have to look out for all three because if we miss any of those marks, we're either not going to be profitable or functional. And if we miss people and planet, well, what's the point, right?
Right.
We're in troubling times, as you know. Sustainability is more important than ever. So we have really put so much effort in all of our history, but now more than ever, into sustainably sourced and developed and managed materials.
Mm. So the three P's, and it's something that you all are taking very, very seriously.
Absolutely. I mean, people, product, and planet, you really can't operate responsibly in the world as a manufacturer without considering all three. And I could go into an hour-long dissertation on what exactly we're doing, but I think I can sum it up pretty quickly for you. And I can sum it up by saying that right now, as I speak to you, unexpectedly 2 weeks ago when we were talking about this, we're literally in the perfect storm from a sustainability standpoint. We have a pandemic, which is going to make us think very carefully about how we go back and how we design workplaces. We have now climate change accelerating at an ever accelerating pace without controls on it. And now we have obvious social inequities around the world. So sustainability really has to take all three of those very seriously, into focus, look to the future and say, how can we not only stop the damage that is necessary by operations? There's going to be impact from our operations. However, if we're serious about it, we measure it, we validate it, then we can reduce it, then we can do what's called hand printing. Hand printing allows us to overcome those and eventually, hopefully in the very near future, become manufacturers of net positive products. That means when we manufacture something, the earth is left in better condition, people are healthier, we know we've done a great job, and we've got a beautiful product line. So there's an exciting future, and it's cool to be on a team that is so on board with all of it.
You know, one thing that occurs to me as you're talking about it is that, how much the architects and the designers really care about this. So one thing is to continue to educate them, right? And then also to empower them to make the right decisions.
Yeah. Cindy, it's so funny that you mentioned that because just less than an hour ago, I got off yet another virtual CEU. And one of the things I'm very passionate about is education. So for the past 6 years, a huge amount of my time has been spent going around and talking to architects, designers, students, contractors, all about sustainability. How can we advance this cause? But how can we also do it in a way that's scientifically valid, measurable, and verifiable? And those three things are really critical. We don't ever want to go back to the greenwashing days of the early 2000s. That was a nightmare, right?
Oh boy, I remember those days well.
Yeah.
We're like, we can't be the judge and jury of all this. You know, it was just very complicated for us as editors too, to know what anybody was talking about, it really meant, and it was crazy.
I'm sure.
Absolutely.
I'm sure.
Yeah, so
I was gonna say, now we're looking at ways to make sure that we can not only communicate that, educate our folks and our employees as well. We want our own employees to be very active in sustainability. And we're teaching them how. We have a green week every single year. We're going into our 17th annual green week this year. So we've been doing just a tremendous amount of education and outreach. But when you get something in your hands that's like Fleck or like coil, or even our biophilic interlayers, it connects you back to nature. It lets you know, it makes you remember what's really important that's beyond the office environment. And then when you can look at the certifications behind that, you can feel really good about products that you're buying. And I hope and believe, and I challenge all manufacturers to come on board with us.
Yes, I would imagine that as a company, all of these initiatives are really, because you're making so many things, that it really brings everybody together, and so the message becomes that much stronger.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Cindy, when Mike talks about Green Week, once a year we have a whole week where we focus as a company on all these initiatives, and we learn. We bring in speakers that help us understand what's happening in this industry as well as in other industries. So it's a really nice opportunity, and then it helps us become an example to the industry on how we think material manufacturing and product manufacturing should look in the future.
And so can I ask you, I know you probably don't want to tell me, but like, so you have these two big initiatives.
Yeah.
I feel terrible that I can't see it in person. I cannot wait to feel coil.
Yeah.
Can't wait to feel.
Oh, it's amazing.
Right. But what happens after that? Are other things in the works right now that I'm sure you can't tell me?
Yeah, of course. But then we'll have to, have another conversation.
Kill me.
But honestly, we think that Fleck is the beginning of this path for us. It's not the end of the path. And we really see all material manufacturing needs to fit into this closed loop world. And so for us, it's the beginning. We're working on, right now, we kind of have this working title of Fleck 2.0. It won't look like Fleck, but we're taking the process and applying it to another new material. And then, as I mentioned before, coil is the beginning of the other side of that material sorting process. And at Freeform, we're starting to use that material for some of our hardware applications. And we're starting to see, hey, it can be a beautiful light, but it could also be a beautiful piece of hardware for us. So it's really the beginning, and we think we're on an exciting path.
Can I tell you something? I typically don't ask that question. And I asked that question because I was excited, because you could see that it's the jumping off point to so many other things.
Yeah, there's no question. It's the start.
Yeah.
And it's a start that took us, the start happened 5 years ago. And now we're at the public start, the start that we can all see, and we can share this vision of closed loop manufacturing, and how not only can we do it, which is a pretty big accomplishment, but we can also make it look beautiful. It's beautifully designed. It has design intent into it. And that's so important, because if it doesn't look beautiful, then where are we?
Exactly. Well, I am positive that the architects and designers, the whole community, is going to be really, really behind you, really excited about it. Hey, wanting to specify it for sure, because they're going to love it. At the end of the day, designers have to love it, and they are. And
for sure.
I don't know, I'm feeling very aligned with you, Christian and Mike, and Freeform, because of their beautiful products that are nourishing the planet. So a big hug, virtual hug to all of you. And I wish I could be in front of you for NeoCon, but we'll have to catch up in 2021, I guess, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sydney. That's so nice of you. That's encouraging, and we're excited. And again, I think Mike and I both wish we were at NeoCon and we were in front of one another. But, we'll look to the future. It'll be fun.
Exactly. We'll always remember that we had this Zoom time together with Freeform, right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
In the building of a better future at that.
Exactly. Exactly. Good.
No question.
Thank you
Take care.
much.
Thank you, Cindy.
Take care. You guys were amazing. Thanks.
Thank you
very much.
It was so fun.
Good energy out to the world. Good energy out to the world.
Absolutely.
You're here.
All right.